So welcome back to the second day of the Pitch Lab of Beyond Borders Festival, taking place at the beautiful island of Castellorizzo in the southeast of Greece. Today we have another 5 project ideas presented from young filmmakers, some first-time directors from Greece, from Romania, from Kazakhstan, and from Iran. So a wide diversity again as yesterday. And as I said yesterday, the idea, the theme of this Pitch Lab is from idea to project. And this is the most important step filmmakers have to make, because it's not enough to just have an idea for a documentary project, but to develop it to a project and present it in a quite few minutes only, sometimes only in a so-called elevator pitch. Means that you have the time to do the pitch and the presentation while the elevator is running up or running down. And this is sometimes it's also the most important and most hard time to work on a project, because you have to do research, you have to find the focus of the project, you have to talk to many people in order to get feedback and input, and you have to find the story. In the end, it's very important when you pitch a real professional project that you have a good story within the theme that you want to present. So this Pitch Lab is devoted to the effort to give you filmmakers the chance to have feedback and be questioned after you presented your projects in order to take this next step of development. We want to help you with that. And we are very happy that you are with us, and we are very happy that you applied with an idea. And it was our jury that selected the projects. And I would like to take the time to again introduce you quickly to our jury and quickly to our panelists who come from all over the world and are very experienced people in our industry. And you also should use this Pitch Lab and the situation of the presentation to network further on with them, if they want and if you want, of course. So I will start to quickly introduce our jury again asking for a quick hand raise to identify yourself, as there is Dimitra, there is Christina, there is Antigone, there she is, and there is Leonidas. There he is. Okay, welcome. I'm glad you are back, and I hope you also enjoyed yesterday's first presentation day. So now our panelists. And I only will say the first names because it's anyway. I don't know whether you will keep in mind the last name, and if you want to contact them, and if they want to answer to you, you may see their whole name below the picture of them. So there is Peter from one of the biggest public broadcaster in Germany, ZDF, and he is the head of Department of History and Science. We have Jean-Christophe Caron from Phoenix.
Hello, everybody.
Responsible for documentaries of this public channel in Germany. We have Claudia. She is commissioner at Arte. And we have Marcus from the Italian public broadcaster RAI. Is he with us? Yes, okay. We have Dane, an international producer of international co-productions from Canada. We have Marco, a producer from Greece, also experienced with international co-productions. Tijana from Limonero Films, responsible for sales and acquisitions based in London. Uri is with us from the University of Tel Aviv. Hi, Uri. We have Veronika from the Documentary Institute of Prague. Hi, welcome all to you. So the rules are the same as yesterday, 3 to 5 minutes pitch, 10 to 12 minutes feedback, time for feedback, questions, and discussion. And I hope it becomes as lively as yesterday. So if you are ready, we are ready. Oh no, I forgot somebody. And this is, yes, right, Fedra yesterday saw our pitch and obviously was so happy that she decided to join us here as a member of our panel. Fedra is, Fedra, I should see your full name. Just I not Vocali. Fedra Vocali. And she is the General Director of the Hellenic Film Academy. Please excuse me for having that overseen. Okay. So everybody is happy now. I mentioned everybody being present. Stefanos, you will keep the time again as yesterday. Thank you very much. You did a good job. And then we can start. And I would like to call to stage the first team of this day. It's from Greece, and the project's title is The Grain of Wood, and Maria Danalaki will present it. It's your floor, Maria.
Thank you. It is okay. I'm connected with Marda Mardan, is the camera, and the rest will be the pictures I will show. I'm sorry I didn't make it clear before. Is it okay? Yeah. Well, good evening to all of you. I really appreciate that you give me this opportunity to present my project here. It is very important for a cinematographer having feedback from acknowledged specialists as you are, especially for somebody who takes her first steps on the world of the documentary. I don't know if I have to have some words about me. I have a background on history studies, pedagogics, and film studies. And I currently do a master's degree in screenwriting at Thessaloniki Film School. Today, I would like to give a brief overview of my project, The Grain of the Wood. My film is about a wood sculptor who lives in a Mediterranean island. At a certain point of his life, he sets off for a journey of personal quest. So it's Nikos Manesis. And because of the economic crisis of 2011, he suddenly got plenty of free time. Plus, he turns from sculpting typical ecclesiastical furniture to a more personal artistic expression. He comes out of his lab, rides his motorbike, and starts a journey of internal quest and inspiration. Through the exploration of natural landscapes of exquisite beauty, he tracks pieces of burned wood, uprooted and dry trees, and gives them a new life, transforming them with his tools into works of art. He conveys his love and passion for life and creativity to his disciples through the organizing workshops for adults and children. However, a health issue that has arisen puts obstacles to his activities. That goes along with his pursuits and asks him the question on a regular basis, until when will he be able to travel and carry out his artistic projects? this is a synopsis. I would like now to share you some pictures. So do you have this? So I don't follow.
No, I'm sorry. I don't see.
No. Okay.
No.
Yes, you don't have it. Share.
Yeah.
No?
Screen sharing.
Yes.
Go on. Go on.
So this is the sculptor during his query in the landscape. Here he found a root that he will transform into an animal or a mythical creature. We follow him during the seasons of the year, and in the summer he usually approaches places next to the sea where he finds seaweed. Here we have one of his works, and he organizes workshops for adults and children that are really happy to follow. And actually, he's inspiring a lot. At some time, he adjusts the pickup so he can even stay outside over the night and have a better query for his materials. And this is a project that he's done in situ. Plus, lately, he has decided to leave these projects at the place where he finishes them. He doesn't take them to the laboratory, to his workplace. Here is the pickup. He has adjusted, and in the end of the day, it's him enjoying the result and life in general.
Okay. Thank you, Maria, for this presentation. Before I go to the panel, can you please quickly answer the question why you are interested in this artist and his work?
Mm-hmm. Well, I have a personal, I'm a nature lover, and I have really, I concern a lot about environmental issues. So this man, through his lifestyle, meets my concerns, because I believe he makes a proposal that meets environmental issues and social challenges for nowadays. And that's it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Claudia, what do you think? Arte is a public television devoted to arts and culture, besides other stuff. Is there a chance for this kind of documentary? And most important, what do you give her as an advice to go one step further?
Yes, thank you for the pitch. I think what could be interesting is really to follow the motivation of your protagonist, to see why he's traveling around, and to learn a bit more about his artistic artistic. What I liked in the presentation is when you saw how he was walking really in the nature. So if you learn a bit more also about the landscape, about the connection with the island where he's working, so I think this would be really, really interesting. I don't think that this would really be something for the cultural slot, because it's, I think he isn't well enough known on an international artistic scene. But if we also learn something about Greece, also learn something about the landscapes and his motivations, this could be something for a slot like Faraway Places, if it's character driven and if he's a good character. So there were only photos. I think you have to get a better feeling how he is when he's talking, when he's working, see a bit more.
Yeah. Thank you. Marco, I have to come to you.
Yeah, I was waiting.
You know, okay.
Hello, everybody. Sure, it's a project at this stage of development, a bit difficult to, let's say, sell to, especially to international industry. I think you have to develop a bit your project before to pitch it, and especially we don't know exactly about the story yet. We don't know exactly what you are really searching with this film, but you have a character and you have a place, an environment. You have an idea of what his art, his piece of art. Why don't you film it? Why don't you make a nice trailer so that it helps you to find the style of your film, the content of your film, and to show to the people, to convince them? Because, you know, it's not, I think, something will convince the people with the text, something will convince the people with images. I've seen this kind of film, and some are I've seen a very, very good film like this, a Greek film. What was convincing, it was the insistence of the director and to really show the work of this artist and his contact with nature. But this you can only tell this with images. So make a trailer would be my advice.
Thank you. Yes.
Fedra, I would like to come to you. You must know a lot of Greek films and international films. So you have seen them all. So please, what advice would you give to Maria?
First of all, I would like to congratulate Maria for taking her first steps in filmmaking, and I think it was, a good presentation, very composed. You had a mood board there. I agree with Marco and with Claudia that, of course, the project needs further development. I would like to suggest there was a film made in Greece a few years ago. I think it was 2018. It's called Fragments by Mariana Economou, who is a quite established documentary filmmaker here in Greece. And her subject was also a sculptor working with natural materials and making sort of animals or anthropomorphic figures out of wood. And because the similarity struck me, I would advise you, Maria, to watch that film as well, so as to avoid going on, on a way that has already been taken. And also, for example, what Mariana has done in her film is that she has put in the film her personal relationship with the artist, because they have been friends for many years, and it's a different type of an artist's portrait. And I believe your film would benefit of an angle, what you said, like the environmental angle should definitely be in whatever pitch you are making. And explore that more.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Great advice. Jean-Christophe, what do you think?
Yeah, thank you for the pitch. As you all know, I'm usually more into hardcore history and politics, but I was following closely your pitch, and I also thought it's not only your pitch, it has been a lot of pitches from yesterday, and also from what I see for pitches coming up today, that the pitches a lot focus on what you want to do, the what and what you want to do. And I found it much more interesting when you explained to us why you want to do it, and what makes it so special for you. So I agree with the other colleagues that your personal motivation, your interest in environment, and perhaps also how he works with people seems to be quite interesting. I saw these happy faces of the children, and so perhaps he also has a level of making people happy with his work, and some other things, how his art strikes you, and his local environment. So yeah, I agree. One would love to see more of how he works with nature and with people.
Thank you. Tijana, what would you advise her?
First of all, thank you for the pitch. I really enjoyed the story, and I have to say it recalls me of one film that we are working at the moment with about Greek island of Kythera and one British artist living there. And then what I learned from that film, that could be quite sellable topic, but in a way I would recall what Claudia said at the very beginning, that we as a sales agent, I would like to see more of this environment, more of Mediterranean, because that's quite, I found it is sellable and people like to watch it. So there is constant appetite for that. And there is another angle that I wasn't sure if director plans to include in the film, but this is also technique because he works with a wood. He must use certain tools, and from that angle, maybe it could be interesting for channels like Discovery, more commercial channels, but that's the way how she wants to make it. So either it could be perfect fit for faraway places slot, showing a bit of Greece and the beautiful landscapes, Mediterranean Sea, and then his life story is in the focus of all that. Or just technique, because people are now, especially during COVID, they started to do DIY and working with tools and discovering their talents. So I think that would be a very inspirational story. But that's what I would like to ask further, if she's interested in talking further with us, what is her motivation behind and how she wants to make it, in which direction.
Thank you. And I would like to hear Veronica from the Documentary Institute in Prague.
Hello. Yeah, I also would like to thank you for a very nice speech. It was very poetic, and I really enjoy the pictures. It had really nice mood. And also, what reminded me a little bit was the film which I saw not a long time ago, Tales of Toy Horse, where the sculptor makes these small toys from the wood which comes through from the sea, and he also the toys also can, or the sculptures can also a little bit like follow or lead the story which you would like to tell through your film. It was just very poetic, and it was something what really like helped to focus on the story. So it can be also maybe the way, or if he makes some specific statues which are also again telling something about the history, it can be also something what can help to your story behind it, or to your film. It was just something what really worked in that film, and I wanted to tell you about. So yeah, but thank you very much. It was yeah, I think it can be really nice.
That was very helpful. And Maria, this is the general advice also for every filmmaker. You should scan the market. You should know and be aware of the films that already have been made, and just learn from them, and also define yourself and your position and your way, because you saw all the others, and know which way to take in between. I mean, there can be 10 films about, artists that look similar. You have to decide which way you are going to take. Thank you very much for this first round of comments and questions and advices. Very helpful. So, and the next one is from Romania. Irina is the director, and the title is Modern Day Heroes.
Hello. My name is Irina Malta. I'm from Romania. I'm actually a producer. I've produced so far documentaries and fiction. I've released 3 documentaries so far, the last one being premiered last week in Sarajevo. And right now I'm working on the post-production of 2 other documentaries. And I've also released, like about 2 years ago, a fiction drama, co-produced with Bosnia and Herzegovina, Slovenia, Croatia, and Romania. So I'm working with both the documentary and fiction. It's a bit bizarre for me to hear the name director attached to my name, but here we are. So my modern day heroes are a bunch of teenagers who believe that education should be at the forefront of our priorities, and who believe that in order to build good people, you need to educate them first. These are the kind of teenagers who prefer to spend their free time in doing good deeds and helping the ones in need. They are part of Castel, which is castle in English, an association based in Brașov, a city in Transylvania, Romania, where I'm actually right now at the moment. Castel is formed exclusively by teenagers aged between 15 and 18 years old from the best high schools in Brașov. And it has been founded by the only adult in the team, namely Vicky. Vicky is 50 plus, she's divorced, and she's the mother of Sorina, who has just turned 18. Sorina is the one who is actually running the association, and she's the one who also initiated the educational program called Teacher for 1 Hour, through which the teenagers from Castel are basically teaching classes like Romanian language classes, English language classes, math, sciences, whatever, to other children who cannot go to school or who come from very poor environments or from a background of abuse. So basically to children who didn't have the same opportunities in life as they did. At the same time, apart from the above mentioned educational program, the teenagers from Castel also do a lot of other charity work. They were also the first ones in their hometown who got involved in the Ukrainian refugee crisis. And basically, in order to help the Ukrainian children, they adapted the program Teacher for 1 Hour, meaning that they started teaching the Ukrainian children Romanian language classes through play and playful activities. When I first heard that they are going to organize a 5-day summer camp in August, only with Ukrainian children, I started having ideas, and I jumped in and I wanted to film this. And I thought that if we're going to have an organic beginning and ending, then maybe I could make a short film out of this. Please bear in mind that from March till May, I also filmed some days with them, and I planned to have this material almost mostly as a development or as a research period, let's say. So last week, I went with them in the mountains, and I filmed this summer camp. In the beginning, I didn't know anything because Vicky didn't know much. I didn't know who from the teenagers would come in the camp, neither whom would be the Ukrainian children. I only knew that they are going to be there for 5 days in the mountains and whatever might happen. My idea was that I could follow, let's say, a certain dynamics of the groups. But unfortunately, that there wasn't much of an interaction between the Romanian teenagers and Ukrainian ones. And this was mainly because Sorina, who is Vicky's daughter, she had a crush on a teenager that was there who wasn't. So it was like a bit of a tragedy, and she couldn't manage her team of volunteers. But in the end, everything turned right from my point of view, because I mainly focused right now in these, actually there were 6 days, not 5. I mainly focused on Vicky, who was running everything. She was cooking for 30 people. She was cleaning the whole cabin. She was managing the whole team of volunteers. She was making the schedule of activities. She was the only one connecting with the Ukrainian children. She was asking them how they were feeling, what was their impression of their stay in Romania, how they are right now. So she was very much involved in everything. Also in her relationship with her daughter. At the same time, in the camp, there was an Ukrainian translator with her 9-year-old daughter who was also translating for the Romanians present there. So I also followed those two, that couple, mother-daughter, and I managed to make like a parallel between Vicky and her daughter and the translator and her daughter.
Irina, I know I'm absolutely sure you can talk for 10 minutes now, but we only have limited time. And in your own interest, I would suggest you now take questions which might bring some more depth into what you want to do. But I do have one question. You said you are a producer. So who is the director?
I'm going to direct it.
Ah, okay. So you will be a director. Okay.
Yes.
So, okay, perfect. Why didn't you have any visual materials when you were in the summer camp and followed them?
Because I filmed them last week, so I didn't have time to.
And you didn't want to show it here?
I don't have any edited materials.
Okay, perfect.
I only have mashes.
It is as it is.
Anything.
Okay, Irina, let's not waste time. You know, whenever you will pitch again, just always have the time in mind. Okay, I will give you some time extra because I'm talking now, so I don't want to take your time now. But you should always keep your pitch focused and clear. Okay, and it's about a storyline and the motivation. Okay, but here we have our panelists, and I was just informed that I finally, and we all get finally to know Yorgos. Please raise your hand.
Yes.
There you are, finally. Yorgos from the University of Thessaly. I don't know whether I spell it right. And I've learned yesterday that what it is, that it is a union of several universities working together. And you are from this university. So would you take the chance and just start the round of advice and comments to this? What you heard?
I had unfortunately a bad connection in my room, so I did not realize that I could participate.
No problem.
I just joined in the middle of the pitching, so I don't have a concrete idea about the project. Maybe I can help you.
Sorry. Okay. No problem. So I would like to come.
Michel's computer.
Yeah. Okay. But the next time you will be on. Okay. So I would like to turn to Peter. Peter from ZDF.
I'm also a little bit struggling with the concrete impression of the film that we are expecting. First of all, I would like to say that the topic education is not a soft criteria for development in societies, but a very hard one. So every time when I hear this apparently old-fashioned word education, I'm fascinated by it because I like everything which is represented in films concerning this effort. So my compliment for finding the subject. Second thing is also reminding me yesterday, I would suggest for all of your topics that you bring to us, that you always try to define, is it more of national interest or of international interest? Because we are an international audience here, and it would be important for us to see from you in the pitchings. Is it more or less a topic for, in this case, Romania, because you are dealing with Romanian and Ukrainian children, or is it of general interest? And that's always very interesting and very important for those who you're talking to. And therefore, I would suggest you to give a little bit more impact on the question, what would be the importance of the message of this film to a broader audience, and who do you want to contact? And also, what Claudia already said, if you have some pictures of it, a little bit of just edited material, only half a minute already, that gives us an impression of how that could be. So my reaction to this.
Thank you. Markus, would you like to comment on this presentation? No, he is obviously not with us. Okay. So I would like to come to Tijana.
Here I am. Thank you for this speech and congratulations to your Sarajevo selection. It's really cool and it's been recently. I must admit that it's very hard with the projects which we call them niche when they come to be national and of relevance to one territory. Of course, now you have Ukraine in the story, but I reckon that there are many countries also have their own integrations of Ukrainian refugees and integrating them into school system and similar type of camps. So, but this story sounds very vivid, and my passion are films about the kids. And I must say my most successful acquisition was from Romania about the little boy called Bruce Lee and the Outlaw. And that film was really widely recognized by TV broadcasters. It was festival pleaser, audience pleaser, etc. So I believe that there are strong chances with Romanian school and background of filmmaking that if you challenge your characters and make a really good story and shape them in a proper way, that we can all fall in love with the characters in your film. And then in that case, it could be a very good festival film, so we could just waive this national influence or relevance. But if you want to go further with a film, that it's very important to see how this film resonates to the rest of the world, not just to Romania. But I think to challenge your characters, to bring them to some very picky situation, to make this storyline with the beginning, with the plot, something that's gonna really mess up with things, and then we have this resolution, and then we have really beautiful end with lots of emotions. I really believe it could work at festivals, at a festival circuit as well.
Thank you. Claudia from Arte.
Yes, perhaps a first remark to the structure of your pitch, because you told us how you were developing the project, that you had a plan and that this plan was changing. And I think for first contact, the best thing is to pitch what you want to do now. And afterwards, when we are digging deeper, that okay, I will do this because first I heard this and I changed my plans. So don't confuse your audience with the shift of your project. You have the project have done in the last week. I think it would really be good to focus on. As I understood now, Vicky is in the center of your interest, a tough woman who is engaged in education, and I think for the next step, it would be really, really helpful to learn more about her character, her motivation, and her relationship to this Ukrainian children, to see which kind of documentary you could develop around it.
Yeah, exactly. But basically, when I heard about this camp, I wanted to explore and meet them better. Let's say know them better. My purpose is to follow them for at least 2 years until these teenagers go to university. What I wanted to see is was whether from this summer camp, Romanians, Ukrainians, I could make something of a short material that I could explore with and play with as a, let's say, as an experiment. But my main purpose is to make a feature-length documentary. So yes, Vicky will also be at the forefront of the focus of the film, but I also plan to follow one or two other teenagers.
I would like to give the chance to Uri to give his comments.
Thank you very much. I think this is a general observation. I'm a little concerned by films that are a little bit about this and a little bit about that. That refers also to the first kind of pitch, you know, a little bit about art, a little bit about environment, and it's a mystery. It doesn't always add up. And in this case, I'm concerned in what you presented about the relationship between, is it a film about the boys or is it a film about Vicky, which this was already brought up, because it seems to turn into a film about the grown-ups more than about the kids. And I would also sort of be careful with the do-good, feel-good kind of genre, in the sense that it's really an important question to figure out who's doing good to whom and who's feeling good because of this, and not to develop sort of, you know, false perspective is very easily developed within these this kind of search.
Thank you. I also have these concerns in my mind, especially since right now I believe there's a bit of a chaos in my mind, because they are doing so many things and I haven't had yet the chance to properly know the teenagers, the kids, let's say, as well as I know Vicky. My main focus from the first time that I met them was to focus on the kids, because they gave me so much hope that things can go for the better, and that we have a hope for a better future, let's say. And since I'm a mother, I would like for these kids to become a positive model for my children. But of course, since Vicky is the one running the show all by herself, so it's a one-woman show, she's gonna be there as well, because she's the one who initiated this and she's the one who's putting this all together. So she's also the one who's giving hope to them to make things better. But it's an idea right now. My luck was that I managed to have some filmed footage so far. So as soon as I will get back home, because I'm not living in Romania at the moment, I will have a clearer idea on what I want to make.
Yeah. Irina, we hope that you really got some input that will help you to make the next step, and you don't need to excuse yourself, because this is exactly why this lab is here. If you have an idea and you want to develop it towards a project, it's good to have feedback from people who are experienced.
Absolutely.
In directing, or in filmmaking, or in commissioning films. So here is the chance to start. So all best to you, okay? Okay, we do have our next idea. It's culinary wanderings from Greece. And Janis Lafis will present it. And we have Christina from our jury who wants to give the reasons why the jury selected this project. Christina.
Hello to everyone. Hopefully my sound is good. Well, the next project is from a very young filmmaker who seems passionate about what he does and about documentaries in general. But one thing we found interesting about this specific project is that its main characters are not people, but places. And although it is still just an idea, it already has a clear aesthetic that could translate well into the big screen and depict accurately the food culture that exists in Greece today. So, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Christina. And now it's your turn, Yanis.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. So I have a PowerPoint. I want to share screen it if I can. So probably you can see it right now.
Yes.
All right. So Culinary Wandering is the title of my project. It's a poetic culinary documentary by me. I'm a film student in the film school of Aristotle University in Thessaloniki. So what's the main idea about this project? It's can I continue? Sorry.
Yes.
Yes. So it's the waste of food and the lack of food, mostly the waste of food from many eating places such as hotel buffets or fast food chains. But let's get more to what it's the this poetic documentary about. So in this documentary, we'll have no characters, no people, and no protagonists, no faces. No plates review, as it is used in many gastronomic documentaries. We won't talk about what we see, what we eat, what we taste. And another basic idea is that there will be no non-continuity montage. That is to say that the documentary will have no chapters, and from the variety of the eating places, we will jump from one to another with a non-linear narration. So the plates are speaking, that's my tagline. I have chosen 10 eating places. There will be 10 eating places, including one which is not exactly an eating place, but rather a usual picture in Greece, but also not only in Greece. The documentary will start with people looking through rubbish. That's the first eating place, if I could put it like that, where people search for food. So the rubbish is one of the eating places, if I could say so. And then the point is to cover the whole spectrum of eating choices, from the rubbish to a tavern to a high-class luxury restaurant. So in every eating place, there are three aspects, three aspects: the atmosphere, the food, and the sounds. So it's the capturing of the plates, which is visual, the capturing of the atmosphere, which is visual and audio.
Yanis,
Yes?
may I just interrupt? We only see your first picture, Culinary Wandering. Do you want to show us more and other pictures, or is it just...
Oh, yes, I thought I was passing through...
No, your screen only shows the first picture with the title of your project. So you should go on with the
Just a moment. Now you're seeing the other pages or not?
We see what you see.
Yes, now I'm on the fourth page. Can you see it?
Okay. If this is the first page, okay, perfect. Go on.
Now the page is writing Thessaloniki. Can you see it? Okay, I will continue like that. So I have placed it in Thessaloniki, but this documentary could be placed anywhere, inside or outside of Greece. It has to be in one city or even in one island, like Castelloris. So let's move. I have some pictures from some eating places in Thessaloniki. This is from a luxury restaurant. It is a gazpacho soup. And for example, to compare it with another picture, this is another picture from another traditional tavern in Thessaloniki. And it is a stewed tripe. It's a used hangover soup in Greece. Then we have a breakfast from Electra Palace, which is yet again another luxury hotel in Thessaloniki. And then we have a burger from a fast food chain, I think it's called Brothers-in-Law, which is all over Greece. Then I have from a restaurant, I have a small phrase: why did you put so much effort, on preparing the plate? This is a lamb. Compared to, for example, just a crepe, a €2 crepe with the chocolate and biscuit. And the last picture is from luxury, also from a luxury restaurant in Thessaloniki. It's called Clochard. Clochard, and you see this plate which has less food than the crepe, but this one costs almost 50 euros compared to the crepe, which costs 2 euros. So again, you can think of many. You can understand a lot only by the look and by the price of the plates. So something last but not least, I have a screening suggestion for this film, and I want to close the share screen. Yes, now you can see me. So I have together with me 2 plates to show you. So my question is, in Greek, we have a Greek phrase that when you see a plate and you cannot taste it, but you can smell it, we say that my nose is broken. So for an hour, my nose is broken from this traditional gyros and this traditional pasticcio. So wouldn't it be nice for all of us right now in this Zoom meeting, not only to be able to see them, but also to taste them or even smell them? I believe that a documentary of this kind could have an innovative kind of screening, which would include not only the senses of hearing and seeing, but also the senses of smelling or tasting. A special designed place or in a small cinema or in a museum could also function other senses, and it's an idea that I would like to work on.
Okay.
Documents like that. Allow me to sum up.
Yeah.
So Culinary Wanderings, it's not a documentary about just comparing eating places, eating situations, etc. It's I will try to make a study of culinary, but also social kind, for eating places, for the being of eating places, their people, their atmosphere, and their philosophy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Yanis. And I got hungry, and I would like to know whether Phaedra also got hungry.
Yes, as a matter of fact, I did. It was pretty charming what you did there with the plates. I'll give you that. Yeah, congrats on your pitch. It was well worked. Thank you for that. My first question is: we are talking about a short, right? That's a short film.
Mm-hmm. Short or medium length, yes.
Okay, and there's no voiceover on that, right? It's just people eating and the plates, right?
Yes, some music could be put, but no narration. I don't have it on my mind about a narration or a narrator talking about what we see or what we, where we are, etc. Yes.
No, just to get a better idea of this. So yeah, for me, I just have to begin with something that that really struck me with your pitch, and the beginning of your film. You mentioned the rubbish eating, and the thing is that, you know, rubbish is never a food choice. It's never an option. No one chooses, you know, to eat rubbish. So yeah. If you're going to present that in there, and if you're like going there for some other reason than the sensationalism of it, you need like to be really sensitive about this and careful. So just, you know, a piece of advice. And then the title to me was evoking mostly of like fine dining experiences. To be honest, I don't know if that's what you were going for, but it sort of gave me this, and I'm not sure if it's like the most suitable, or there could be something more fitting. And then just like a final comment on the why. I mean, I get the sort of social commentary, right? That's
yes.
Is that, yeah. And why are you what's like, why do you want to make this film? Is it like a comment like the inequality, or is it
it's not only that. It's like because as I mentioned, the goal is to cover a spectrum of eating choice, like to start from a fast food chain and to end up, or not to end up, to include also a tavern or a small restaurant and a luxury restaurant, for example, and also to study and to try to make some to understand maybe if they differ or if they are also the same. I used on my treatment, I mentioned that if a person that is outside of our culture could visit a fast food chain and then a luxury restaurant, would he find more similarities or more differences, for example? And if we isolate only the plates and do not include the people, the behavior of the client, etc., what can we understand only from this picture?
Thank you. Sorry, just last thing, you could check out Culinary Cinema that was going on some years ago in Athens, where they had screenings and then they had dining experiences. They sort of did this.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much, Pedro. Tijana, what do you say?
Thank you for your pitch. It was very creative. And I would say that this goes a bit more to experimental side of filmmaking, and being short length and the middle length film, I think distribution possibilities are quite limited. But you mentioned it by yourself that this could work beautifully in some venues and spaces, which engage people and interaction. So for me, it's more like an art installation, I have to say, than it's a film. But yeah, happily there are non-theatrical distributors all around the world who would be definitely happy or looking forward to screen that and to take it in consideration. So I can imagine that there are certain partners that you can meet. If you want to talk further, maybe we can stay in touch and maybe I can put you in touch with some of them. But as a sales agent, yeah, I must be honest that possibilities are quite limited because it's a maximum middle end film. And as I said, it fits better into some different venues than cinemas or TVs. And yeah, but it's very, very beautiful. I really enjoyed your pitch.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yorgos, what is your advice?
I was a bit perplexed because starting the film with images of people searching food in garbage, I thought that the subject would be about throwing away a lot of food in our houses or in restaurants, which is something like a social criticism. Then I understand that it's a combination of images of people eating and different dishes, which is a totally different aspect. It's not clear for me what is the subject, so that you cannot understand a poetic approach, because taking away characters and interviews and anything does not make a film poetic. We must first make clear what are the objectives and the way we're going to treat our subject, so that we can identify our individual approach. For the time being, I would like to have a more clear idea about the subject, because you can show beautiful images of dishes, speak about smelling and I don't know, everything about eating, but it's not clear what Yannis' approach is, what he does want to do.
Okay, thank you very much.
The images in the PowerPoint were not very clarifying to me.
Okay. You have to live with this critique, Yannis, okay?
All right.
Make the best out of it. Peter.
it's always difficult to pitch an idea like this, which is so extraordinary, you know, and therefore we have to be very careful with talking about it. I have the impression, I can't explain exactly why. I have the impression that there is something in that idea, you know, that they are, as you said, 10 plates are talking, that you have a structure with atmosphere, plates, and sounds, no protagonists. So there are many elements that make me curious, but, you know, I'm still looking for that one and only striking idea of this. You have to find that. And you have to do it with humor, and you have also to work with cliches, because you have different kitchens in the north of Europe than in the south of Europe. You know, you have austerity on one hand and richness on the other hand, you know, that may lead you to oceans of universes. So it's important to find that very one idea. And my last remark, I do not know how it leads us to, but I observe, and all of you probably as well, that young people are always filming and photographing their plates, and they share it with other people, young people in the internet. I know that my girls also are doing this all the time. So there must be something fascinating in filming and photographing food and plates. Perhaps you play with this idea and you make a short film for the internet, you know, with a good camera work, with a good ironic idea behind, and then just, you know, try to analyze why young people are doing this and what does it mean us to, you know. I can't explain it in a better way, but I have the impression there is something original in that, and you have to shape it.
You see, and this is also something that you will encounter more often. You have a whole variety of opinions and advices and views upon your projects that you are going to develop. So you have to make the selection, and you have to decide for yourself which way to follow. But it's important to hear as much feedback as possible in order for you to develop.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, Yanis, and good luck
Thank you
for
for
your
the
project.
Thank you.
Sasha will be the next to present her project, her idea. She is from Kazakhstan, and the name of her project is Acting Classes. It's your floor.
No, I'm here.
There.
I'm here.
She's there.
I'm here. Yes, I'm here. Hi. Hello, everyone. My name is Sasha, and I'm from Kazakhstan, and I'm scared of getting old very much. So I decided to make my first documentary about senior home. And just to understand for you, my idea is that senior home in Kazakhstan is not something that you plan to be in the end of your life. It's not a place where you want to finish your life. Usually the community, the people who live there are basically victims of betrayal, victims of different frauds, or they have difficult relationship with their kids, and children sell their apartments and send their parents to this home. So basically it's not something bright and nice. And I was thinking about this idea, and my main idea was to have a parallel dimension, different worlds in this reality, because at the same time, despite all the difficulties and dramas that these people have, they still have this desire to live. They don't give up. But first, let me tell you about my main protagonist and my ideas. My main character's name is Vera, and she just arrived to this senior home. She hates this place very much, and she could not get along with people who live there. Also, Vera doesn't lose the hope to get out of here, and she calling her son, and we have this footage, and she's calling him and asking him to come back and take her back home. But one day Vera, like her situation is basically hopeless from her point of view. But one day she goes to this amateur acting class, and suddenly, slowly, step by step, we see how she reinventing herself. In the beginning, for example, she was scared of any fights and disputes with people who have been living in this home for a long time. But here she's beginning to adapt to the situation. And we see that she's changing and she can stand up for herself now. Time goes, time passes, and the play is done, and we see different Vera. She basically gives up on idea to get back home, and she doesn't believe that one day her son will come and pick her and bring her back home. But something is changing in her. She let herself to shrink her world to the size of the senior home, but she's a star now here. And my main idea was to create this documentary and theater piece with these people who live in this senior home. So basically I found production designer, and I found a costume designer, and all leading roles and people who want to participate in production of this theater piece, as well as to act in it. And the thing is, why this theatrical piece is so important is that basically it's the only place when they gather together, because the atmosphere is so stiff because people have so much traumas, and they still, even if it happened 10 years ago, they still remember it. But theater is the only piece, the only place where they gather together, they can fight, they can develop friendship, they can talk. It's very noisy, colorful, spontaneous, as well as there is another kind of reality in this film. It's daily routine. It's basically, and then we see that these people basically do not leave their rooms. They just leave it 3 times a day when they go to canteen, eat, and go back. And they really don't like each other, so they don't really talk, and they prefer to stay in their bubble. So that's why I was thinking maybe as a theater piece, we can use a very simple, I don't know, maybe it's a little bit popish, fairy tale by Exupéry called Little Prince, because basically it's really them, because they live on their planets alone, they don't talk to each other, and only my main character is kind of rambling around and try to find friends, try to find love, because she needs to, at the same time, she's at this stage, she's kind of begin to understand that she needs something to hold on. Otherwise, it's a mess. It's a terrible mess. And I want to connect these 2 films, keeping my Vera as the main character because she has the strongest arc, and comparing to other members of our theater classes, she's the one who's still, sensitive, because others who has been living there for 10 years, they're very cynical and very closed. They can open up, they can talk, but in a way they're very judgmental. They like to gossip. But I understand why they're doing this, because their life is basically miserable. And also the reason I said before that I'm very scared of aging, because in my society, nobody accepts it. Everybody needs to be young, smart, keep up with trends. Me at my 36, I'm not able to do it anymore. I mean, I don't know how these people who are 85 survive. It must be very difficult. And also my latest point is that I do believe that all marginal community reflects the society. So basically them in their closed system, they do have the same traits that we have in my society. They're very judgmental. You don't need to pop up. You don't need to be different. You need to be like everyone else, then people can accept you. But when you a little bit shiner or brighter, they will punch you very hard.
Sasha, come to an end. Okay.
Yes. So basically this is why I want to do it, this documentary.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
very much, Sasha. Jean-Christophe, what advice do you have for this very engaging project?
Well, yeah, congratulations, Sasha, because I think you have a lot of ingredients and more for a very interesting story. Also, your personal motivation is very strong, and it's not a direct association, but when you were talking, I was thinking of situations with you know, in the film The Awakenings with Robert De Niro and Robin Williams, because I love these. You have a closed society, kind of, you know, an asylum. An old people's home, and it looks very much like you already have a very interesting protagonist. So I think with all the passion you brought over, probably it sounds a bit like also like a medium-term observation or a long-term observation. And it would be very interesting whether you find with a theater play also some other side characters of your Vera, of your main character, because everyone is hoping that, like you, that her loneliness breaks up with the theater play, and hopefully there's some humor in it. So I think you have everything there, and the Little Prince with theater play is a kind of organic, well, dramatic arc. That sounds very interesting. Yeah, but hopefully, or everyone would probably be hoping that your protagonist finds other characters to interact more. So I would just love that you have the nerve and stay with a passion, that you have some The Awakenings moments. It sounds very much like that you have a great story there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Claudia.
Yes. What I thought is that very young people and very old people are always good stuff for good documentaries. And if you have a charismatic, good protagonist, I think this story could be something interesting. And it would really be important to have a kind of framework, and this theatrical piece could really be something to have a beginning, a climax, groups with old people fighting for roles and this kind of stuff, because you need some tension, and afterwards at the end, when everybody is on stage and playing this game. So there is a potential. I think all thing will be how charismatic is your protagonist, and what are we learning from this film? Is it a universal film, or is it something which is really linked to the Kazakh society, or could it be everywhere in Romania, in Germany, and France? So this point I didn't really get. But I think there is really some potential.
Right. Marco, what's your opinion and your advice?
So, of course, it's a challenging topic very much, because we are all, most of the audience have the experience of having parents or relatives or friends in the senior houses. And I think it's a great idea. I would like you to develop you have a very strong motivation to develop this, and maybe be the essence of your film, the fear of aging. And having this experience, you have to stick to this character. Of course, she will interact with other in the theater group, but always be her point of view, her fears, hopes, disappointments, everything. And don't try to be international. Be specific. Be Kazakhstan. Because there will be the interest for universal. You know, I don't know if you remember. It was a film, very beautiful film, in the late 70s or early 80s, about the senior house of Scala di Milano. And
no, I haven't watched this.
You have to find this.
Okay.
It was, I don't remember the name of the director, but it was a very well-known Swiss director. I tried to find it and I send you the, if you want the reference. And it was beautiful because you see that old people are not so different from youngest people, you know. And we recognize ourselves.
That's true.
We recognize ourselves. And, I don't feel you will do that, but don't make miserable or feel pity.
Yeah.
You know. And of course, people are miserable in a film if your look is miserable. If your look is not, the people are not miserable. Find the beauty in them, their fear, their hope, and I think it could be even a very funny film. I don't know. It depends of the people and your approach, but it's a great idea. It's a great idea.
Thank you.
Tijana, what do you say?
Thank you. Thank you, Sasha. I'm always happy to hear about stories coming from Kazakhstan because they are very, very rare. Yeah, you took me really beautifully through your pitch, and I thought I got all, but then I realized there's so many things. As my colleague mentioned previously, many ingredients, many editorial lines. So I was wondering if I was watching your film, where my attention would go, what would be my main focus in that film? Would it be a caricature? Would I be still looking for these Kazakh moments? Because like the film is coming from there, it's always interesting to find out about different cultures and countries. Then again, you mentioned this theater play. So I was wondering how that's going to be structured. Is that connection for them to get back to themselves or with their families during the presentation? So like there were many things. And then also a couple of films came to my mind, very successful ones that resonates with your film. Doesn't have to be about old people, or there was one beautiful Belarus film called Debut about female prisoners also making a play. So I can imagine it could work in that way. Maybe you heard of it. Then yeah, but I definitely think the strongest moment is your character. So depending how strong the main character would be, that would be the success of the film and the whole story in the end. So yeah, but and also I must say that I encountered so many films in making and already being made about your topic from all around the world, Germany, Sweden. The Swedish one is quite strong, but so you need to know, you have to find your niche, because the market, like the festival circuit, is really saturated with this kind of film, with Alzheimer, dementia, old people, from different approaches. So I would say you need to find your niche if you will forget about Kazakhstan and just focus to your characters and the situation and your personal motivation that drove you into all this. I think you need to find this niche, which means you need to watch a couple of those, definitely the ones. So if I can help you to direct you to some of them, to help you to find them, and definitely you need to watch Debut, because I think you're on that path more, and this is the success of your film, I think, lies in that Eastern European poetic and this ex-Soviet nostalgia in a way that we can still feel through all these older characters.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Veronica, I would like to have your opinion too.
I was just wondering about, you mentioned that like going to senior house in your country, it's something as a shame, or, on the people who have no social nets or connection goes there, which also grabbed my mind, because it is really not like same.
Yeah.
All over, so it can be also the one like interesting thing, because I also have seen some films from Poland where like it's really shame to put somebody in the senior house, which is really not same situation in, for example, my country. So this could be also like one angle, but also what maybe can help you, it's if they will really play the some theater play, and if they can invite the family members and you can be with them when it's happening, it can be also very emotional stuff. But it's just I'm already like too concrete. I don't want to be so like, but it was what Tiana also was mentioning. There are many different ways how you can like follow your protagonist. Was just like, because there are some films about that already, but of course for me it can be really interesting to see what, like, why is it shamed so much, because in other like Central and Western countries it is already a normal situation with the elder people. So that's also one I think one thing what can be really interesting for us just to mention.
Thank you very much. So I think, Sasha, you really received a lot of valuable advices and information, and also
thank you very much.
That's very kind of our panelists. Thank you very much for your input. And now we come to our last project idea to be presented. It's from Iran, and there will be the director and the producer, Ali and Ruhollah. And it's We Are Superstars. And Dimitra from our jury wants to say some words why the jury selected this project.
Hello, everyone, and thank you all for your pitchings. We chose this project because of the passionate group of self-made filmmakers it is about. Their love of cinema is a very relatable value that we all share. Their work, although unconventional, is actually helping preserve an entire era of cinema. They have created an extremely interesting business out of making and selling their movies. So this is why we felt like we had no choice but to invite them here, hoping to see the film completed soon.
Thank you. Ali, Ruvi, your floor.
Thank you. Ali, please go on.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ali Delkari. I am a director and a producer of We Are a Superstar project.
Thank you, Ali. I will pitch this project on behalf of Ali because of language difficulties, if you are okay. Okay, in a small town in Iran, a group of people supervised by their chief remake Iranian famous pre-revolution films known as Film Farsi. They have no academic knowledge. At the beginning, they started making these films in the hope to be seen by the professional directors and make it to the top. Although this didn't happen, but it made an underground film movement in that little city, and this group become as famous as superstars. You know, everybody know them, everybody respect them, and so on. You know, the social media changed their lives. They are famous, and being a superstar has some requirements, but they are mostly from poor families and poor backgrounds, and this is a paradoxical situation for them. Nowadays, they are respected wherever they go, but it was not like this some 20 years ago when they started this business. The chief of the group was arrested and jailed several times for carrying films, for making films and stuff like that. So far, they have remade about 73 films, which is a lot of films. After every production, when the film is released, they decide to quit and leave this business. But after a while, a member would come with a new idea, and this is what the others are waiting for. In these films, we see how they produce a film from A to Z. And also we will dive into the chief's personal life to see the challenges the paradoxical situations, which are sometimes crazy and many times funny, and he has to deal with them. In a nutshell, this film is about the love for cinema and the challenges which will come after that. I think that in a traditional country like Iran, in a traditional and religious country like Iran, this group has to face with many challenges from authorities, their families, their amateur crew, and also the financial difficulties they have. Also, we had a trailer for this film that we can share it later. We prefer to just talk about it in this meeting. And finally, thank you, Beyond Borders Film Festival, for this great opportunity. That's our pitch.
Thank you very much. Although I think at least I would have liked to see some visual material. And I think it's always very, very important to give also a visual impression because we are working in a film business. Okay, but let's leave it here. Claudia, I would like to come to you first.
Yeah, it's a quite interesting topic to make a film about filmmakers who are doing B versions of films from another world, you could say, because Iran from today and the pre-revolutionary Iran are two different worlds, at least seen from our perspective. What I would like to know is, I think if the crew is interesting and if you have good protagonists, this could be a great story because you all also, as in the theatrical play, if you're following the film, you have your framework and you have your narrative arc already with following the making of the film. But for an international audience, because I think you will address to an international audience, how will you give the context? We need to understand why these young people are doing pre-revolutionary films. What is the difference from those films to the films nowadays, and all this kind of stuff?
Can I explain it?
Yes, do, please.
Yeah, before the revolution, we had the films, as you know. Now hijab is mandatory in Iran. So these films also were forbidden. After the revolution, this kind of film, which is film Farsi, was dead for a decade or more. We don't have it. So people love them. I mean, ordinary people love these films. So when they remake them, so women has hijab. They cover their heads, and also if there is some scenes that they have to drink or something like that, they have to find a way even to censor this and cut out these parts, or just find another way. In the beginning they have lots of problems with these issues, but they find their own methods to cover it or to pass it.
Okay. Claudia, is that enough for you, or you have another question? No, it's okay.
It's okay. Thank you.
Okay. Uri, I would like to have your opinion on that and your advice. Uri, are you with us? Obviously, there is some connection problems. Okay. Phaedra from the Hellenic University. What do you think about this proposal?
It's a Hellenic Film Academy, but I really enjoyed the proposal, and I would have loved to see something, as you said, Claudia. And if you didn't want to show the trailer, then maybe show us a small excerpt of, the DIY films they're making, just to get a better idea of this world. And I was wondering if there's any other archival material that would be relevant to sort of demonstrate how they came to be and like the history and the context of it.
Of course, there are some material because, as I said, they are working on this issue for like 20 years. So, you know, at that time, even carrying a videotape or a VHS player was forbidden in Iran. So if they would take you with this kind of material, you would be arrested. And this guy has been working in this field for several years. So yes, I think that there are archive material, and also because you know he's doing this business for several years. As far as I know, because I am the distributor and advisor, there are materials which can support the idea.
I would love to watch a film about like sort of the history of this group and the history of the country through their eyes, and at the same time it's a cinephilic story. Yeah, I think you've got something there.
Thank you very much. Jean-Christophe.
Yeah, thank you for the pitch. I have to say I'm very interested in learning more about your two documentary. Now I will send you my email later on in the chat. You know, we're here in Beyond Borders, and I think it would be on Iran and Western relationships. There's just a limited stories that are told, and a lot of are about geopolitical conflicts. So I'm very interested in getting to know, and I think our audience also, as a politics and history channel, getting to know such personal stories, the story of the village. And I agree with my colleague Claudia that we also would be interested in learning a bit more in the film about how the films mirror Iranian society in a nutshell, perhaps, and get a little bit of context about the fascination of the people with film Farsi. And I just can add that over the last years, we always have been trying to cooperate with some Iranian colleagues, and also our mother channel ZDF. We have established some links, but sometimes this all depends on the films and on good film proposals, and on people trying to work together. So I'm very interested in. I will send you my email, and I'm also thinking of a good colleague from ZDF Arte, with whom we've been working on Iranian and German corporations on documentary. So I'll send you my email. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your input, Jean-Christophe. Uri, are you with us now?
I am now, but unfortunately, the connection here is appalling. I couldn't hear anything from the pitch. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for that. It was very interesting. You missed something. Tijana.
Unmute. Yeah, it's very, very interesting, and it's one of the biggest cinematographies of the world. But what I was wondering now, I know again a couple of films already made on the not probably similar topic, but yeah, there are some of them. So I'd like to discuss if you about your knowledge about this. But then again, there is one which frankly speaks about cinematography during revolution, Iranian cinematographic revolution, which is with Icarus. So I think that your film should follow at least the quality of execution of these ones. And that's my main question here, is how you're going to make it, because I think with archives, less talking heads and really good and strong execution, this could be something really, really big, because these other films open the door and apparently you talk about something different. And also I'm personally interested what context you're gonna bring into your film, like a Shah and Farah Diba, and we all know that Elizabeth Taylor was visiting with Richard Barton and stuff like that. Were they connected to that world as well, or they were? So I'm very interested in this social context, but mainly about the execution, because with a good execution, it could be a really good one.
Yeah, I think that we need to maybe to talk about it a little more. But I think that this film is this background, we will understand about it during the film. And, you know, we understand the difference of filmmaking in this era, you know, and the past during they make the films. You know, we see the scenes of that films in the past, and we see how they change it and, you know, remake it to fit the current situation. And from this point, we understand that what has changed. But I don't think that we go to the history and, you know, that glorious and shiny days of Shah and Farah and stuff like that.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So this was it. This was the pitch lab of this year's edition of Beyond Borders. And I thank you very much for having participated, to having handed in your applications, and I very much want to thank our panelists for their input. That was absolutely valuable. And I'm absolutely curious to know where and how these advices and also the critique that was voiced, where and how it is going to influence our participants and the filmmakers in order to develop their project. But I'm positive that it will have an influence, and this is what we wanted to reach here and to do here. And I thank all of you for your time, for making yourself available, some at shorthand notice. And it was so interesting for me also to hear the different voices, the different reactions to the projects being presented. So I thank you also very personally from my side. I also want to thank the jury for their great job that they did, having selected so very many diverse, interesting project ideas with new approaches. And I think we all learned a lot during these 2 days. I also want to thank for the technical stuff that we never saw, but we only heard the voices of. You really did a good job. Thank you very much. And Stefanos, for your help also organizing this whole event. And all the participants and filmmakers who are with us, and I wish you all the best. Make the best out of it. Try to keep the contact to our experts here being present, because that is very valuable. And if they have time to come back to you and help you and also accompany a little bit the process of developing the project, you have won so a lot. Okay, have a good time. It was a joy to see you, and perhaps we meet somewhere, sometime again. Okay, thank you very much. Bye. Ciao.